Hey everyone, Colten Montgomery here with Team Discmania, and I'm excited to show you what I'm throwing for the 2024 disc golf season. To start off, let's go ahead and get started with the money makers, my putting putters. I putt with the XO Hard Vapor Lynx, which is my signature putter from 2021, the Arctic FANG. Nice, comfortable feel in the hand. It's got a nice bead. It's firm but tacky. And for me, a beaded putter has just always been super comfortable for me. So XO Hard Link, my putter of choice. Next up, going into my throwing putters, one of my favorite new releases from Discmania is the Spore. Goes super straight, a ton of glide. And the thing that I really like is for being 155 grams, I can throw this thing really hard. I can throw it about 350 feet and it's not gonna burn over and turn over. Like if I don't throw it hard enough, it'll definitely hyzer out. So the Spore has been a nice little fun addition to my bag, giving myself little runs at the basket from just outside of 100 feet. So Spore, ton of fun and a ton of glide. Next up in the stability lineup, I've got the Cosmic Fury 2, which is a Metal Flake Lumen Logic beadless putter. And if you know me, if you've been following me for a while, you know that MD1 is my go-to mid-range of choice. And the Logic for me kind of reminds me of that MD1. Beadless, glidey, super straight. And this is just a slower version of the MD1. So anytime I need a putter to go super straight or a little bit turned to the right, I'll be throwing my Logic. Maybe one of my most thrown putters in my bag is the Luxe Vapor Link. The reason I like this is, again, it's got the bead, so it's comfortable in my hand. Little open up shots within 250 feet. I really like the Link for something that goes straight and has nice glide to the basket. I can put it on a little bit of anhyzer and just watch it flatten out and keep pushing straight. So the Link, a big staple in my bag. Similar to my Link is the Color Glow P3X. This is another Discmania release that released within the last few months. I like it because it's a little bit more shallower than the Link. The bead's a little bit smaller and it doesn't glide as much and still has a good amount of stability. So I need something a little bit more stable than the Link. I'm going for the P3X. Last up in the throwing putter category is my Extra Exo Soft Tactic. I like this for little chip forehand shots or on short backhand shots that I need to finish left. It's in that soft plastic, so I know it's not gonna skip or roll or anything like that. I just know that when I throw it, it's pretty much gonna stick where it hits. So again, something stable for forehand or backhand. Tactic is my choice. Rolling into the mid-range category, let's get started with, in my opinion, one of the best discs ever made and my favorite mid-range ever, the Discmania C-Line MD1. This is the 15th anniversary run, so it's a little bit more domey than the stock runs. I like these that are a little bit more domey because they have a little bit more stability and I can really crank on these things hard. For my up shots and low ceilings, I love the MD1. It's got a ton of glide. Can pop it on a little hyzer and it continues to push forward. MD1, my go-to mid-range of choice. I've got a bunch of different variations, but this one's gonna be my newest, most stable one that I can throw pretty hard, watch it go straight and then just glide to the left. Next up, another MD1, been in the bag for about a year, another 15th anniversary run. This disc isn't to the point where it burns over. It kind of just has that gentle turn on it and probably my most thrown mid-range when it's not super windy and I just need something reliable to get me up and down. Lastly, in my MD1 category, I've got the stock C-Line. This one's a little bit flatter than the other MD1s that I've got. It's beat up, and this is definitely my most flippy one. I can put this on a nice hyzer, watch it turn over, and literally just hold for a couple hundred feet, keep holding to the right. So This one is good for standstill shots within 200 feet that I just need to go super straight. If I need to throw it a little bit harder and have something finished to the right, this is the MD1 that I'll be throwing. But again, just something that I can throw super soft and I know it's gonna go straight. It's not gonna hyzer out on me, dump out. It's just got so much glide and so much forward push. Moving up in the stability, I've got a C-line method. This came out in the mystery boxes earlier in the year, and the method's not usually made in C-line plastic. So this is a little special run that they made, and the way that they feel, nice and flat, has that bead on it. This is my stable mid-range, something that's stable but throwable. I know that it's gonna go straight and always finish to the left. You know, I've got more stable mid-ranges, but this is a nice complement to the MB1s. If it's a little bit too windy, I always can go for the Shadow Stone C-line method and watch it just finish to the left. Lastly, in the mid-ranges, MD5. This has been a great addition to my bag for little forehand shots or backhand hyzers that I can just throw really hard and know that it's reliably gonna finish left. Can even put this thing on a little anhyzer and I know that it's gonna fight back. This is my overstable utility mid-range, forehand, or backhand. S-line MD5. Starting out in the fairway category, maybe Discmania's most popular fairway disc, the FD. I actually took this out of my bag for a while, recently added it back in because I knew I was missing something, and it was just that flight of the FD. Super glidey, nice and neutral. You know, you put it on a little bit of hyzer, it'll stand up to flat and just keep pushing forward. If I need a little anhyzer out of it, I can put it on anhyzer out of my hand and watch it just drift and carry the whole entire way. If you know an FD, you already know what's special about this disc. Next up, going into the FD1. This is actually one of my newest favorite releases. In the last year, I'd say the FD1 has been a big staple in my bag. It's got a small rim, much like the FD, but it has that little added stability. We got a pretty open hole here, and for shots like this, I'm really liking the FD1. In my opinion, it's a little slower FD3, and I've got different variations, some flippy ones, some stable ones, but FD1 has been a great addition to my bag. So I need to hit it hard, and it's something that goes really straight, but I know is gonna get that reliable left finish. Another FD1 in the bag. This is just a stock S-line FD1. It's a little bit flatter than the other ones that I've got, and this one is definitely my most straight FD1 I have. It's kind of like truly a more stable FD, something that still gets flip up, but it's not gonna burn over. Sometimes if I throw an FD too hard or the wind takes it, sometimes it'll burn over. Where this FD1, I can throw it on hyzer, it'll flip up to flat and sometimes even finish back to the left. And the last FD1 I have, this is my new FD1. I've been throwing this a lot around water, grabbed it straight off the shelf because I know exactly how it's gonna fly. I know the stability that it's gonna have brand new, and it's just something that I can trust on those water carry shots. Last disc in the fairway category is of course an FD3. This is a board flat color glow FD3 that we released last year. Everyone likes a flat FD3, that's what everyone asks for, and this is just board flat, feels amazing in the hand, really trusty forehand disc, is always gonna finish to the right for me. And backhand, I'm not really turning this thing over or getting it flat, it just wants to get left, and yeah, the feel of this color glow, the profile of it, one of my favorite FD3s that we've made. When I need something slightly longer than an FD, but not quite a distance driver, I've got my CD1s. This C-line has been in my bag for a while, so it's got beat ups and it's got that nice hyzer flip to flat and a little bit of turn. When I first got this thing brand new, it was actually pretty stable, but it's gotten to the point now where it's just like nice and trusty hyzer flip and maybe a little bit finish to the left. But CD1, a little bit longer than my FDs, a little bit more control and a little bit more glide, but overall CD1, one of my favorite discs in the bag. And of course, I've got my signature series ZETA'S Moon Swirly S-Line CD1 that came out last year. This is definitely flippier than the C-Line that I have, but it's a very nice complement. We've got a nice dead straight downhill tunnel shot when we came out with the ZETA'S Moon CD1, kind of exactly the shot I had in mind when throwing this disc. So if you're looking for a nice hyzer flip disc, Swirly S-Line CD1, check them out. Starting out with my distance drivers, I've got the PD. You already know PD is my favorite driver mold that Discmania makes. This is the Lone Howl 2, nice and board flat, that grippy S-Line plastic. This can be one of my most stable PDs that I have. It's fairly new and it's just something that I can jam on really hard flat with a little anhyzer, and I know it's gonna go straight, flatten out, and then just finish to the left. Super reliable disc, and honestly, just one of my favorite reliable discs in my bag. Got another Lone Howl 2 in the bag. As you can tell, this one's a little bit more beat up. It's been in the bag for quite a while, so instead of being able to throw it nice and hard and flat and watch it finish left like the other one, this one just likes to pretty much go dead straight. I can even put it on a little anhyzer, watch it drift to the right, and then finish out. But again, nice flat profile to it. Good for forehands too, feels very comfortable with that smaller rim. But Lone Howl 2, Lone Howl in general, PD, staple in my bag. Going on to the Lone Howl 3s, this is my metal flake version of the PD. A little bit straighter, a little bit more glidey than my Lone Howl 2s. So if I don't want to jam something so hard, or I don't need something to finish so far left, I like throwing these. This one's a little bit lighter weight. It's about a 171, so I can really get this one to push out straight, flat, and continue going forward. This is a little bit newer Lone Howl 3, a little bit heavier, and it's got a little bit more dome to it, so it's definitely something that has more glide to the left. Compared to the Lone Howl 2 doesn't quite have the glide that these do, so I'm able to throw this a little higher in the air and watch it glide to the left, where the Lone Howl 2 kind of just wants to dump. So if I need something a little bit more distance and a little bit more left, I'll be going for the Lone Howl 3. And last PD in the bag is a Domi Discmania made PD C-Line. These ones came out super stable, so it's something, it's kind of comparable to my Color Glow FD3, but this is definitely faster, same stability, just something very trustworthy. When it gets super windy, I know I can jam on this hard, flat, and it's still gonna finish left. So C-Line PD, definitely one of the most stable versions of the PD Discmania has made. Going into the distance driver category, I've got the DD3 or Cloudbreaker 3. Pink, super domey. This one's pretty new to my bag, so it's nice and stable. It's my DD3, it's my go-to distance driver, and this one's one that I know I can jam on hard, flat. It's gonna go 500 feet and then it's gonna start turning left. It's always nice to have a reliable distance driver that still gets good distance and doesn't just wanna get left, doesn't burn over. This is just kind of like, in my opinion, exactly how I want my DD3s to fly brand new. So Cloudbreaker 3, Domi, go-to. Next up in the stability lineup, I've got a really old, beat up white Cloudbreaker 3. This is the money run of Cloudbreaker 3s. They start out really stable, but this has been in my bag for over a year, and it's to the point now where I can jam it out hard on a hyzer, watch it hyzer flip up, turn over, and then finish back to the left. I mean, this disc feels so good. It's, yeah, just really my go-to. Forehand, backhand, this is the DD3 that I'll be throwing more than anything in my bag. And lastly, for my DD3s, I've got a stock run, a little bit flatter, a little bit lighter weight, but this thing for me is way flippier than any of the other DD3s that I've got in my bag. I kind of keep this in for forehands, don't have the best forehand in the world, so something a little bit flippier really helps me get that distance. And for backhands, we have a tailwind, or I need a big shot that finishes from left to right. This DD3 will be getting the action. Finishing off the driver category with the overstable guys, we've got the PD2. Discmania finally released these PD2s a couple months ago. Wide open fairway, a little bit of wind. It's nice to finally have the Discmania made PD2 back in the bag, something that I can jam on hard and know it's always gonna finish left. This is the stock run. It's not quite as domey as the mystery box run that we have, but this is just overall a great overstable PD2. It goes far. It's not the most overstable. If you put it on a little anhyzer, it can hold that ante a little bit before fighting back. So really excited to have this PD2 back in the bag. Next PD2, we've got a Sky Stone. This has been in my bag for a couple months now, and at this point, I don't really even consider it a PD2. I kind of tell people it's an overstable DD3, something that I can really jam on. It kind of gets some flip up. If it's too windy, I won't throw it because it's one that will turn over on me. So this is just a jammer PD2, something that I know will flip up for me, but finish a little bit harder left than my DD3s will. And lastly, most overstable one in my bag, prototype PD2. This is, as you can tell, the most domey one I've got. And this one doesn't really want to go far, it just wants to get left. So when the wind really picks up, I really need to just hit something hard, finish left. This is the prototype PD2 that I'll be going for. That does it for my 2024, what's in my bag. That's what I'm gonna be throwing for most of the year. Depending on where we are throughout the tour, my bag sometimes changes. You know, right now I didn't have that many mid-ranges, but when we get back into the woods, you know, like the discs I'm throwing will change, but for the most part, those are the molds that I'll be throwing. Might cycle in some new ones here and there, but that's what you can expect for the most part from me for the 2024 disc golf season. I'd like to thank Discmania for supporting me for years, giving me the best plastic out there to compete, and I wouldn't be where I'm at without them. So huge shout out to Discmania. Thanks to my fan supporters out there, and I hope you guys enjoyed.